Good morning, good afternoon. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to participate in our webinar. I'm Mike Donahue. I am the program director for the Master of Science in Technology Leadership. What I'd like to do today is really spend some time digging deeply into the curriculum that we have, and then also talking about our capstone project, and really kind of take you through a little bit of a deep dive on the specific capstone project. So what I thought we'd cover today is really starting off with the student outcomes. So what is our viewpoint of the student outcomes that we believe the students are desiring and looking out for? Now, once again, there's tremendous diversity in terms of where students are coming from. So these outcomes may be a little bit different than yours, but as we design our course, we really try to think about these specific outcomes when we put together the curriculum. Then what we're going to do is we're going to spend time diving into the curriculum at a high level, going through some specific courses, and then kind of go through a little bit about a program overview to talk about the overall program, how we structure it, how is it operated, and then go through the application process and make sure that you have a clear view around that, and really tie back into both the student outcomes and the curriculum that we have. Now, what I would say is that at any point in time during the session, definitely feel free to throw something into the chat, throw it into the Q&A, because I'm sure if you have a question, if you have something that comes up, definitely other people will have that perspective as well. So feel free to interrupt me really at any point in time to be able to do that. I don't mind taking the questions as they come. So with that said, let's talk a little bit about the value proposition that I believe makes sense for students. And so the value proposition is one where we frame this degree as really optional. I mean, the general sense is you have to get your undergraduate degree, but I think more and more, graduate degrees are coming under a little bit more scrutiny in terms of do you really need it? Do you want it? And certainly out in the Valley, there's a lot of questions about graduate degrees. So what we think about this is that our students are they're mid-career professionals. So that means that they're about 10 years out of undergrad. They are definitely in the science or technology profession. So there's somebody who somehow, some way went into that profession. They could have had like a Bachelor of Science, or quite honestly, they could have a Bachelor of Arts. We usually have about 50-50 mix in the program. So it's people who may have done the Bachelor of Arts and then wound up in tech, and then the people who absolutely wanted to be in tech and they did the Bachelor of Science. But to us, it doesn't make a difference. I get that question all the time. Then what we do is we look for a track record of achievement. So when we look at the application, this is specifically the resume to kind of see that you're making progress in your career, and also from your letters of recommendation of what kind of achievement are your recommenders coming back with. So that's something that's really important to us. And probably the most important thing out of anything is really what's your leadership aspiration, because what we're looking for is the reason why you're getting this degree. So what is the desire that you have, or the aspirations that you have that really mandate that you come and obtain this degree? And we've had people who actually their supervisors came to them and said, listen, you're doing great in the company, but you really need to go back and get a master's degree focusing on leadership. And we actually had one person from Google where her supervisor actually found our program and recommended our program to her. And so she came in, and then she got a huge promotion actually while she was still in the program. So basically the program, what it's geared to do and what it's designed to do is really focus on skills, like building new skills. So they could be leadership skills, they could be communication skills, they could be skills around machine learning or finance. So we really try to provide a broad range of skills that we know are critically important for leaders in a technology firm. The other piece is we're trying to give you a little bit of a different mindset, because we have a lot of people come in, they may have more of a myopic approach to things and focus on just one or two factors. And what we're trying to do is have the person think about many factors. So for example, you may only think about technically what is the right solution. But certainly, let's look at Facebook. Facebook, they went out, they did some things, and now they're under a lot of regulatory review. There's a question of will the government step in and put some regulation on top of them? And certainly for companies in China, there's been actually a huge regulatory push from that perspective. It's really changing the operating environment. So when we talk about a different mindset, it's really looking at things beyond just the technology. One of the things that's very nice is the Brown Network. The idea is that you can reach out to alumni and of both the program and alumni of Brown University and be able to get their thoughts about different career options or seeing about different ideas as to what they should think about for your career. Then professional development. And this is interesting because we recently had a seminar where we had alumni come back and talk to the current group, and it was really interesting how many of the people reflected on the professional development as the item that really made a difference for them. And what happened would be, things like their self-reflection in Professor Alio's course, where they're thinking about new ways of becoming a leader, or we're a team-based program, and so you're in teams in each one of the different terms, and then we switch up the teams, and at the end of each term, we allow the opportunity to provide feedback from the other team members. And there's one individual where she felt that the feedback that she got from the team was invaluable. She knew where she was struggling as a leader, but then she got the specific feedback that she needed to really break through and become a much stronger leader. And it was really non-obvious feedback. So obviously everybody's shooting for leadership positions. So they could be in your current company, which is fine. It could be a new company, or more and more, we're getting a lot of people that are exploring their dream of going into the startup world. So what we find is that we're actually delivering against this return on investment. So 84% of the students are promoted within a year of graduation. About 50% get promoted while they're in the program, and about a quarter of the people get promoted to the VP or to the C-suite. So from that perspective, when we track this very aggressively, and actually the alumni are really good about reaching out to me, and even current students are reaching out to me and telling me about their new assignments and their new responsibilities. So basically this is the way we frame it. And so really, when we put together our mission statement, the mission statement is really focused on a transformation. We want every student to believe that they've really gone through a transformation, and that they are approaching their position and their company in a very different perspective, and they're more strategic, they're more innovative leaders within their organization. And many times what we find is not only do they feel more comfortable that they're doing that, but they also get feedback from their organization that they're different. Now that they've attended the program, people within their organizations really see a difference in terms of how they're approaching their job, or how they're approaching their assignments. So from that perspective, it's very positive. But that's our mission that we have. And so obviously from a transformation, we've outlined some of both, the key factors that we think are influencing students and influencing what they need. And we also look at what kind of transformations that we want them to see, because quite honestly, every student is different, every student is unique, and what they need could be very, very different. So for some people, it might be more on the finance side, or might be more on the communication side, or for many people, it's the leadership skills. So the idea is that you'll have to almost define the transformative program that's going to be right for you and right for your position. But what we try to do is design it in such a way that we can accommodate all these different transformations that people will be coming to the program for. So the way that we approach developing the curriculum is we very much take student feedback into account. So at the end of every single class, the students will give feedback, and we take that very seriously. We'll make changes and modifications. I teach in the program, so I really value the feedback, and I love the feedback, quite honestly. I think from my perspective, it's very helpful to obtain that feedback and understanding of what the students liked about the course and disliked about the course. Now, in addition to that, though, we also have the advisory board. So these are seasoned leaders, industry leaders, and they come back with perspectives and advice and guidance as to what they're seeing as needs in the industry. And then from a best practices perspective, we also look at what programs other or what specific courses other programs are putting out there, and so we'll adjust our practices based upon what we see from other institutions. And so from that perspective, that's how we put together the curriculum. The way we structure the curriculum is really things that are really foundational. These are things that you're going to see probably in any program that you're going to apply to. So be it from professional development, from effective leadership, persuasive communication, technology leadership, and finance and business strategy. You can clearly see that we're focused on leadership, and all these courses are very highly rated from the student perspective. So Professor Alio's effective leadership course is extremely highly rated, and then Barbara Tannenbaum's persuasive communication gets tremendous ratings. So that forms the foundation for the students. And then what we do is we add programs like big data machine learning. This is a new course that we've just introduced in the last cohort. Students really liked it. We actually got amazing feedback from the students, and we're doing a massive pivot where what we're trying to do is have the students find a machine learning example in their own organization and really developing that out and actually pitching it out to their organization. So it's not so much of let's go learn random forest algorithms. It's more of like, let's really understand what's the business case for change and how do we push for change within an organization. Then we recently changed the Unlocking Value Globally by actually partnering with IE to get a professor out of Madrid actually go and deliver this course. And once again, the feedback from the students has been very, very positive. We've we're just starting these two new programs or new classes, the emerging technologies. This was driven by this massive interest in startups. So we have Banu, who's going to be teaching that class, and she's going to really give students a perspective of what it's like to go after and being in a startup. And then strategic decision, we decided to expand that course to make it both quantitative and qualitative so that you get the best of both worlds to when you're thinking about making decisions to be able to drive towards that. We have the Critical Challenge Project. We actually have a new academic director and a new leader for the Critical Challenge Project, and he's totally revising it. And what we're doing is we're baking more time and more structured feedback so that for the Critical Challenge Project, which is a project that goes out through the entire length of the program, that is really focused on something that the student wants to aspire to from a leadership perspective. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more, but this reflects the overall curriculum that we have. Now, I talked a little bit about the partnership with IE. We also have a non-credit bearing International Immersion Week. So it's 1 week where we go to Spain. We spend the majority of time in Madrid, but then we also head out to Segovia. And this tends to be something that the students really enjoy. Spouses or partners are definitely welcome to attend this trip. And it's nice to really both get to know a very different culture, get to know a very different university, and then also get to bond with the other students in the program, because there's certainly a lot of time outside the classroom. And as probably many of you are aware, you generally don't go to dinner in Spain until sometime after 11 p.m. So it's very different than what we're used to here in the States. So coming back to the critical challenge project or the capstone topic, what we try to do is focus you in on really some aspirational skill, aspirational position, something, it's a very robust project that should be able to demonstrate all the different, or use all the different classes that you have from the program to really be laser focused on this one topic. And so we want it to be a very big topic, and we want it to be something that's going to be important. And so then it's something that you will focus on for the entire time. And then in the last term, we carve out a significant amount of time for you to get it over the goal line and drive towards that. So that's the high level approach. Then we have the strategic decision-making class. Once again, this class was really focused on how do we make better decisions, because as you're probably aware, in technology, you always have to be looking for the latest, greatest trends, or, like in machine learning, should we do it? Should we not do it? How do we need to think about it? And if we do it, how do we need to think about bias and ethics as it's associated with machine learning? So we've really beefed up this course, and we've got a professor in that's really going to be able to speak to the challenges that you have with strategic decision making. And then on the entrepreneurial leadership side, this really gets into all the way from having an idea to getting funding to then having a monetization effect to really walk away with a success. And it's really just soup to nuts in terms of what you need to do to be able to do a startup. Now, all this is really enabled by the world-class faculty that we have. And this is a real differentiator for us, because I would say that, the difference with this program, it's a very small program. I mean, the maximum cohort size will be about 40 students. Right now, we've got 30 matriculated students for this cohort. So we've got another 10 spots that we're gonna fill. So what we like to do, and certainly I'm one of the faculty, I just like to get to know the students, both while they're in the program and actually after they graduate. I have ongoing calls and career discussions with people who have graduated. In fact, I just got off a discussion with somebody where they needed some thoughts on compensation. They were offered a new position, and they were going in to do some negotiations about compensation. So we talked about all the different levers that they have to be able to think about that. So for us, it's really a starting point for what should be a very long-term relationship with the student. Just to give you some examples from 2021, we talked about a critical challenge project, and the top one is a critical challenge project that somebody had in their mind. They were thinking about it. They brought it to the program, and she just didn't have the time to work on it. So she decided, with one of the main reasons why she came to us is to be able to drive towards this. As she went through and started building her startup idea, she was able to convince one of her cohort members to be one of the 4 investors in her startup idea. And the good news is they had a monetization event before they graduated. So they actually built it, got it rolling, and then monetized it all during the 16 months that they were in the program. Then we have, in the lower left, we have Doragio, who came in really wanting to migrate to one of the FANG companies. And so he was interviewing. And so before he graduated, he actually got offers from many, but he ended up going with Apple. And then we have another person who was working with one of the big basic consulting companies, and he liked it, but he's always been interested in startups. So he's able to get a really fabulous position at Better.com. And I just saw recently that they're in the process of going public. So he's going to have a nice monetization event for himself. So that's a little bit of an update in terms of the class. We also, I got a call or actually it was a text this week where one of our graduates from the second cohort, she actually took a job at SpaceX, and we're going to talk next week about whether she should or should not go work directly for Elon Musk. So she got into the company, was doing very, very well. She got noticed, got on Elon's radar screen, and she wants to talk through whether that's going to be a good idea or not. So, so that'll be a conversation I'll have next week. But overall, lots of great success with our graduates. So to kind of walk through the program, it's a blended program. It's 16 months in length. We have 5 one-week residential sessions where you're actually in person. It's generally, Sunday through to Saturday, roughly 8:30 in the morning till 5:30 at night. And then you have your nights to do whatever you want to do. So that's a residential time period. And then the online program is one where then you'll focus on one course only, and then complete weekly assignments in that one course. So it's a significant amount of work, and that's something that you really need to think about as you plan for this program. We partner with the School of Engineering, so you actually get a Master of Science in Technology Leadership, which for many people is really beneficial for their company to signify something. And then also, many companies really allow the students to go beyond and get their PhD. We've had a number of people that are interested in doing a PhD after they get this master's. So with this degree, you have that option. So just some numbers for you. It's on average, we've been about 28. Obviously, we've been trending upward because we have 36 in the current cohort that's in session right now. And then, as I said, we have 30 that are matriculated. And once again, we'll probably be, anywhere from 35 to 40 would be the cohort size there. We have an even split on the gender. And then we have about a third of the class people of color. And then we targeted the 10 years of experience, and we get about 13 years of experience, just to give you a sense. But it's a wide range. We have people that are 3 years out of undergrad, and we have people that are nearing retirement age. So it's a mix. And as you can see from the companies, a tremendous mix from a company perspective. So you have a lot of, all the way from the big tech giants to consulting companies to military to pharma is really big to retail. So you can kind of get a sense that the one thing that you'll find with this program is tremendous diversity of your classmates on all these different dimensions, and we really like that, and it improves for a very robust discussion, because I'm actually teaching the machine learning class, and every Monday we get together and we just had a great conversation about bias and ethics with regards to machine learning. So people had some really great viewpoints, and they actually were able to bring a lot of real world examples to the conversation that we had on Monday. So that was particularly fun. So the process is pretty straightforward. So you submit your application. You go through an admission interview with the academic director and myself, so Rod Beresford and myself. We make a decision, and we present that to grad council, and they make the final decision. And so you usually get that within 2 to 6 weeks after we make the recommendation. And then to secure your spot, you just have to give a non-refundable $1,500 deposit. And when I talk about the 30 students that have already signed up for the program, those are the people who paid the non-refundable deposit. We do have scholarships available, but it's all financial need based. There's no merit scholarship, because quite honestly, all the people that applied the program are amazing, and they all have a lot of merit. So we've really gone more to the financial need, and that's it. And generally speaking, the amount of money that you get is anywhere from like $5,000 to $10,000. That's pretty much all we provide from a scholarship. I know some people come in with the expectation that this degree will be free, and that wouldn't be a good expectation to have. So that's just something to think about. So basically with the application, first, what we don't care about is we don't ask for any standardized tests. There's no GMAT, there's no test of any kind that we need, because we just find it doesn't really help us, and it hasn't been a good predictor of performance. So what we look for is your personal statement for why do you think this degree is really important and why do you need it? But we look for what your critical challenge project would be. And a lot of people kind of freak out about like, well, but Mike, what if it changes? And that's fine. We have, I would say about half the class, they stay with the original project. I would say half the class change their project. And I'd say about 20% of the class change it more than once. So just to give you a sense. So it's just more, we want to understand your thinking about, what are your aspirations? What are you trying to shoot for? Then we get 3 letters of recommendation. We get the resume or CV, and then we look for the official transcripts, because that's really what we look for from the perspective of your academic performance, because we want to make sure that you're ready for the academic rigor of Brown University. So the next deadline, well, actually the final deadline for regular decision is November 1st. So that's the target date. Now you can submit at really any point in time. We do have a rolling admissions policy. So if you get it in, we'll set you up for the interview, and we can, once again, within like 6 to 8 weeks, we'll be able to get you an answer from the time that we receive all your materials. So if you don't want to wait till November 1st, that's totally fine. You can submit it really at any point in time. That would be no problem at all. Now, what I would say is that, this I would say is the initial discussion, and then maybe you got all the information you need and you can submit. But Susan is the program advisor. She is excellent about answering any of your questions, because quite honestly, maybe this presentation raised more questions than it answered, which is great. And we'd be happy to talk to you. So Susan is happy to talk to you, and then I'm happy to talk to you as well. So whatever we can do to help you with this decision, please let us know, because we know it's a really important decision for you. It's something that you want to be thoughtful, and we want to make sure that you have perfect information in terms of making that decision. So, what we'll do is we'll end it there, but I'll say thanks again for participating on this call, and whatever we can do to help you with this decision, definitely feel free to reach out and let us know. We'd be happy to spend more time with you. But have a great rest of your week, and have a great weekend. Take care.